George puts up a long-range three and nails it. Kayla G for three.
Back to Nicholson, off the glass.
Three ball. Unbelievable. Been an impressive performance.
Shot, she gives it off, almost a half court from Melbourne. It's gone. And the look on her face says it all.
Welcome to the National Convention Centre for Round 13 Cygnett WNBL action between the UC Capitals and Adelaide Lightning. Both teams are desperate for a win tonight, having each come off a 1-point loss and winning just one of their past 5 games. Plus, although Adelaide haven't won on the road this season, they've won 5 of their past 9 encounters against Canberra. Julia Montesano here to take you through this exciting clash alongside renowned women's basketball coach Laurie Chiswick. And Laurie, both teams will fancy their chances of a win tonight.
Oh, yes, they will. And as you said, 1-point games against quality opposition in Adelaide versus Southside and Canberra versus Townsville. Both of them had the opportunity to win in the last shot, but just wasn't to be. But I tell you what, both teams, it was an all-round effort with lots of contributors. So as you said, I would expect both teams would be coming into tonight's games full of confidence.
Well, like you said, both teams are coming off those absolute nail-biters from last week. Adelaide going down to Southside by 1 point on the Saturday night, and then the previous night it was Canberra going down by a point to Townsville. Talk us through both those manic games, Laurie.
Well, as I said, contributors by both, but both of them had a last shot to win it, and they just couldn't get it done. But I loved how there was contributions all around. From both ends of the court. Both teams gave themselves every opportunity to get the W. And as I said, high-quality teams. Both Southside and Townsville are vying for playoff positions and where they're going to finish on the ladder. So it was a great effort by both teams.
It was indeed a great effort by both teams, and they'll be, like I said, fancying their chances tonight, as it is 6th versus 8th tonight. And in terms of the other situation around the league, there's a bit of movement happening around. Of course, we saw Perth and Townsville in action last night. It was Townsville getting the job done. They sit in 3rd place, 11-4. Southside on top after that Melbourne loss to Perth last week. And it's going to make things very interesting heading into the run home, Laurie.
Well, it is, but we're talking about 6 versus 8. And whilst that might not seem important in terms of obviously the final finish of the ladder, these teams both will be fighting for good finishes to the season, maybe having some impact on teams they play further up the ladder, but both of them still want to put in a strong performance, both individually and as a team.
So the starting 5 for the Capitals, it's Tonks, Melbourne, Pizzi, Burrell and Munga. So Laurie, Shanice Swain still out with that knee injury, unfortunately.
Yes, they've got a few out with Canberra, but I love the fact that Pizzi has really stepped up with this opportunity. She had 12 points against Townsville, 5 rebounds, and against quality bigs in Akuzo and Hawkins. And isn't it great to see Tonks to get that elevated into the starting group? Great experience for her.
And Adelaide, well, they'll be looking at much of the same starting 5 as last week. Borlase, Talbot, Brooke, Munro and Mansfield. So keeping it consistent, Laurie.
Well, yes, they are. And we called this game, Julie, against Southside, and Borlase, 19 points. She was just on fire out there. Talbot, steady as usual, 15 points, 11 assists. And wasn't that great for Talbot, the announcement today that she's been drafted or moved to the LA Sparks?
Yeah, and absolutely fantastic recognition for Steph Talbot, of course, suiting up, a long-time suitor of the WNBA and the WNBL as well. And of course, Kayla George was the other one overnight. She got picked up by the Las Vegas Aces. So some big WNBA news overnight, as you can see on your screen. A 2-year contract with the LA Sparks for Steph Talbot. So great reward for her effort, and it's good to see her continuing to make strides overseas.
Well, it is, and you know, she had a great World Cup. She's come in here, led this team really well as far as point scoring, the assists that she gets. And she's a leader out there, and she's a real foundation for that Adelaide team. And it's good to see that when she gets to go to the WNBA, now she's with a different program. So we wish her all this success with the Sparks.
Back to tonight's game. It's not only an interesting contest for the players, but of course the coaches, Kristen Veal and Nat Hurst, very familiar with each other, former Capitals teammates. So they're both looking to get a win on their name as well. Of course, both struggling this season, but when there's a win, there's a way, and they love to celebrate, these two coaches too.
Oh, I think that's such a great story. In 2000, Kristen Veal was the grand final MVP when Caps beat Adelaide, and Nat Hurst was just a young 17-year-old rookie and played point guard, backup point guard to Veal. And here they are, both as head coaches now in the Cygnett WNBL, going head-to-head against each other.
It's a great story, that's for sure. But on court now, we're focused on the Caps and the Adelaide Lightning. Both teams looking for a win, having both gone 1-4 in their past 5 games. Referees on screen, Craig Copes, Kyle Easter and Mark Grist officiating tonight's action as Munro gets it out to Borlase. Adelaide looking to start the shooting, and Borlase looking to start where she finished last game. Instead, gets another chance here, and that's perfect.
Well, instead of getting 2 points when she drove it in and missed that, let's keep the play alive and shoot it out, pass it out to her on the 3-point line. Great shot by Borlase.
And there's Jade Melbourne back in the high bun tonight. Tonks, that's a good response.
Great response.
And great start for Tonks as well. A young player, played in Canberra her whole junior career and now gets her chance as a starter, no less. And speaking of getting her chance, here she is again, Izzy Borlase.
She's so hard to defend. She just shot a 3, so you have to close out long to her, and then she can put it to the floor so efficiently.
Pizzi looking for an option. Gets Tonks there on the roll, but has to kick it back out. Melbourne trapped in the corner.
It was the right movement, right extra pass, just wasn't able to connect.
Talbot loves this spot. Unfortunately not on that occasion. Munga bringing it up the floor for Canberra. And that's a nice little feed to Pizzi. Eventually found her footing and got the bucket.
Good read by Pizzi. Munro just had her head turned, was ball watching a bit, just cut in behind her, and a good find.
Here is Munro looking to respond. But Burrell came out of nowhere with the steal, and off she goes down the other end of the floor and gets the bucket to go.
Really good defense by Burrell, just recognizing that she was probably going to try and back her down, and just came across and got that steal.
Talbot backing down on Melbourne. He's fouled. So Capitals leading 7-5 early doors. It's been a pretty good start from both teams, converting on a high efficiency quite early.
Well, I like the mindset of both of them. They're looking to push the ball a little bit, and that's something that I thought Adelaide did exceptionally well against Southside. They really ran the ball. They explored their opportunities. You know, certainly from the 3-point line, they shot it at 43% compared to their season average of 34. But along with that, they got 42 points in the paint, so it was a real combination. Running, outside shots, inside shots. We'll see if they can continue that tonight.
Melbourne charging towards the rack, and she gets the bucket to go. That's classic Jade Melbourne, using all her speed. Borlase on the left, couldn't bank it in. Munro's there to help. Still with Adelaide. Mansfield can't get that to go either. And they can start again with Munro to Talbot.
Canberra going to have to take care of business. They can't keep letting Adelaide get 2-3 shots at the bucket at the rim, because they're eventually going to score.
And that's exactly what Talbot does. Brings the scores level. Munga. Burrell. Behind the back. Crowd certainly loved that. Great to see the Canberra crowd out in force. Of course, Canberra, a 4-game home stretch to end the season, so hopefully giving their fans something to cheer about.
Yes, I read an article where you know, they had so many games away to begin with. It's really nice to be able to end the season with 4 home games.
Pizzi into Melbourne. Pops up a nice little floater.
She's been heavily guarded by Mansfield. It was good to shake her free using her screen.
So Adelaide going to work on Melbourne, but now Mansfield going to work. Borlase. Back to Mansfield. Just letting the shot clock tick down here, the Lightning. Munro loves this spot, and that's why.
I was just watching the matchup between Melbourne and Borlase, 2 up-and-coming stars. And they're going to be fun to watch this whole game.
Pizzi into Burrell. Shot clock in single figures now. And that is all class from Ray Burrell.
This second half of the season, Ray Burrell has just gone from strength to strength. She's been really consistent in the numbers that I guess, you know, like we say with a lot of the imports, it takes a while just to settle into the competition with her teammates, but she's been really consistent in what she's bringing to the lineup.
And I think that the last time that these two teams played, it was really a breakout game for her. She got 20 points, 2 rebounds and 3 assists, so really found her own. As that rims out. Here's Tonks off and running. Munga kicks it out to Burrell. And this time she can't bank it in, gets her own offensive rebound, then gets blocked. A bit of a frantic sequence, but Canberra have it back. Melbourne gets taken off her. Mansfield wearing her like a glove. Borlase gets the M1.
You can really thank Steph Talbot for that. On that on-ball, she really stepped out high for a really hard show, forced that turnover, forced the ball to be juggled and turned over, and then we could see them streaming down the court, Borlase, and a nice finish here.
So Borlase having another electric start. 7 points for her already. Make that 8. Of course, we know the game she's coming off against Southside. An amazing start. Burrell. And great boards by Munga, just hit in the process.
She's another player. What a great pickup Munger's been for this Canberra group. She's come in and she's given them some physicality. She's given them some versatility. She can play, you know, as a smaller, big type player. She can defend perimeter players. She can shoot the three. She drives it in. She's been a great pickup.
Made her WNBL debut against Adelaide in round 4. And now meets them again. This time wearing a different number. She's in the number 33 tonight, as opposed to her usual number 44.
Personal foul number 2 for Jessica Monroe.
So Lightning lead 14-13. Ray Burrell at the free throw line after a tough drive.
Burrell shoots the free throw at 81.5%.
You've done it.
Sorry.
I'll have to get Ray Burrell a coffee for that one. You can see last game, though, she did have a stellar performance. 24 points and 5 rebounds. Wasn't enough to get the job done, but what a season she's having.
You just highlight the both of them were 1-point games, and Canberra shot the foul shots at 80%, but Adelaide were only at 50%. You think if I just made one more foul shot, so the foul shots are just so crucial. And they may not feel like it in the first quarter, but down the track, everything counts.
The Caps come up with the rebound, and it's Tonks off and running. Here's a nice wide open look. Instead it falls to Talbot. And she gets a look of her own. It's interestingly, both teams looking to shoot quickly.
Well, yes. I'm not sure either shot was a great shot to take in the context of where we're at right now.
See Munga there, tough on the boards again, but Whittle just got caught in the crossfires. Britt Smart on the floor for her first minutes tonight. Goes for a drive and then passes it to nobody. So a turnover there. Adelaide can regain the lead here. It's in the hands of Mansfield, the trusty hands of Lauren Mansfield. Guarded by Melbourne. Well, that's a beautiful open look, and Brooke makes no mistake.
Some real miscommunication on the part of Canberra there.
They get a chance here to make amends through Melbourne. He's finding it really difficult there. So the shot clock ticks down. It's all happening at the National Convention Centre. And Melbourne's able to get the rebounds there. Very frantic play from both teams. That's a good pass, but Tonks just couldn't control it. Smart. It gets back out to Melbourne. Can't bank it in. The crowd just umming and ahhing with every movement that's happening tonight. Whittle. That's a nice finish.
It is a nice finish. Good use of her body, Marina Whittle. She's so cagey when she gets the ball underneath there. She knows how to do the reverse layup. She knows how to handle that ball.
So lining up by 4. What can Canberra do? Smart. Dishes it back out to Munga. Melbourne just has to pull the trigger. And there will be a shot clock violation. And a timeout call as well, called by Canberra. So Kristen Veal will take a bit of a moment to reset her team down by 4. But this timeout is brought to you by CTM Sport. Are you considering travelling interstate with your basketball team? Consider CTM Sport for a competitive, innovative and customised travel. She's got herself on a little roll tonight. Kalea to Smart. Back out to Kalea, who pulls the trigger, but Whittle's there for the rebound. Cabillo off and running, trying to inflict more damage on the scoreboard, and Adelaide get the call there.
Well, Brooke did a great job of sealing early. She got to the point of the rim. She got the defender right behind her, and she held that seal, was demanding the ball. And really the only thing they could do to stop her was foul her.
So 21-14 lead for the Lightning. And that was a nice move, but just couldn't be finished off by Cabillo. Kalea. Looking for Burrell, instead finds Melbourne. Into Smart. Now Pizzi. Melbourne. Smart. Basket. A big basket to match as well. Britt Smart just knows how to step up at the right time.
Well, it was good player and ball movement by Canberra. They kept the defense moving, and then a nice little skip pass, and we know that's Britt Smart's thing, is to catch and shoot straight away.
Brooke just loses the handle, but it falls to Cabillo. Can't convert. Whittle's there again on the offensive boards, but Canberra get the call.
Coming on for the Lightning, number 20, Ella Badish.
So 21-17. Sam Simons is going to come on for Adelaide, and Ella Badish will get some minutes too. Borlase takes a seat. 8 points to her name already in this game. Smart pulls up from elbow range. Whittle takes it down. And Adelaide get to work through Talbot.
Nice decision by Steph Talbot. A little kick ahead pass. She looked at the defense. They were there but not set. Drove it in. Nice finish.
Kalea into Smart. The idea was right, but Whittle there again. Melbourne there to assist for Canberra. And Adelaide get it in the hands of Talbot. And she gets back-to-back buckets.
I like when Steph Talbot's in a scoring mindset and not so much as a facilitator. I mean, she does both really well, but I like it when I see her being aggressive and attacking the rim, especially in transition. But what a nice finish. And a little pump by Burrell.
Speaking of attacking the rim, that's exactly what she did. Nice basket to bring some momentum back to the Caps on the stroke of quarter time. Gets the M1-2. So Ray Burrell at the free throw line. You can see strong averages for the season. Able to convert the three-point play. Talbot. Can she have the last say on this opening term? Cabillo gets it back to Talbot. Melbourne with the steal. Tonks off and running. Could she get it back to Melbourne? She does. Big finish from Jade Melbourne. That's one way to end the quarter. That high bun seems to be working wonders for her.
And that was a big shot to go along with that big smile that we see her end the quarter with.
We love seeing Jade Melbourne with a smile on her face. But it's at the quarter time, it's Adelaide 25 leading Canberra 23. Adelaide got out to a pretty decent lead, 8 points, but then Canberra just brought it back and that shot certainly helped. Talk us through that first quarter, Laurie.
Well, I thought initially that it was a little bit, well, it was just a little bit sloppy defensively. I didn't think either team was really up and in and pressuring. But having said that, there were some nice quality decisions being made, passing it inside, shooting it from the outside, as we can see Marina Whittle there. And I thought that after that timeout, both teams sort of settled into more of a rhythm than just hurrying up on shots.
A good opening quarter from both teams. And the scorer so far, Boulays with 8 points. Talbot also got herself up to 8, a late flurry from her. And as we see the stats come up on your screen, both teams shooting at a pretty good clip to start off this game.
Well, they are, and that's what we would expect, that you know, the closeness of this game is reflected in the percentages. Certainly Adelaide are winning the rebound count right now, but other than that, it's pretty even. And I like the fact that both teams are looking for each other, so assists 7 and 5. You know, that team style of basketball that they both had in their 1-point losses could play a huge factor today.
So that's how it looks at quarter time. Both teams, like we said at the start, desperate for a win, coming off 1-point losses. Adelaide yet to win on the road this season in particular. That they'd definitely like to put that record to bed. For Kristen Veal on screen, she'd love to get her second win as a coach, Laurie.
Oh, and she keeps coming so close, and they've been so competitive in their last few games. So as a coach and as a team, you know you've improved, and I think that's the case when, you know, right now when you look at them defensively, they allow teams just under 90 points. But at the start of the season, after a couple of rounds, they were allowing 100 points average. So certainly their defense, while it's not, you know, the best in the competition, it has improved, and that's what they need to keep doing. Every time they step on the court, there's got to be some sort of improvement, and you just want to win to reward that.
So second quarter underway at the National Convention Centre. Adelaide leading by 2. Expect this game to go right down to the wire. 6th versus 8th tonight. Kalea. Burrell. He's got off to a good start this game. Just loses the handle there. Able to get it back, but can't convert. So Cabillo can get things started for the Lightning in this second term. Badish and Simons work in tandem. Simons can't convert that 3. Tonks nearly lost it, able to get it back. Good composure from the youngster there. Wide open, pulls the trigger. Whittle on the boards. But good to see young players taking their chances from that sort of range. Cabillo into Whittle. Just assesses her options and decides to go herself. Loses the handle. Good defense there from perhaps in particular Pizzi.
Bit of swarming defense when she put the ball to the ground. The defense collapsed. She could have had a good kick out to some of her shooters on the outside.
Burrell out to Tonks. Melbourne. Shot clock down to 5 now, so Melbourne needs to go. Tonks goes instead and does so successfully.
I was just about to say, and I will say it, that was a great defensive play phase by Adelaide. That was a tough shot over a long outstretched hand.
So Canberra up by a point. Talbot. Oh, that's a great pass to Badish. Can she finish it off? Not quite.
Unfortunate because she set such a good screen for Talbot to come off.
Melbourne just puts on the Jets, but again, can't finish. So we're seeing some fancy moves. We just need some polish. Cabillo does just that.
There's your polish, Julia.
I love it. Expect nothing less from Abby Cabillo. She's having a great season in new colours. Burrell. Melbourne and now Pizzi. Burrell trying to get around Badish. Gets fouled and heads to the line for 2.
I emphasize that screen that Badish sent because I feel like the players right now aren't really going and headhunting screens, and that's the way you get your teammates open. Headhunt a screen, roll hard to the basket, then get in the defender's way. But unless you do that, if a play is designed that's got lots of screens, unless you set good screens, it's pretty useless because defense can just get through them. They can switch it easily. You need to get defense having to navigate hard screens.
Burrell makes both free throws. So Canberra getting off to a good start in front of their home fans. Cabillo knows a bit about this stadium, of course. Brooke. There was a foul call. Adelaide will get it from the baseline.
So particularly in a baseline play where everybody's set up, everybody knows they're in the right position, you can really go out and set some good screens.
Brooke into Simons. Now Talbot likes the look. But Burrell was there to stop it. And the crowd got up with that one. Burrell trying to work her magic on the offensive end now. Pizzi. What about going into the basket instead? Tonks. Instead, can't go back to back. Talbot. Just looking to slow things down. Gets it back from Brooke. Simons now. Back to Talbot, the skipper. Shot clock down to 5, so Talbot goes, but cops a heavy collision. One player's a bit slow to get up. There's good courage there from Pizzi too. Tonks from the corner. She's lining it up from 3-point range. Lizzie Tonks.
Really good extra pass by the Canberra Capitals, the UC Capitals. Just seeing Tonks wide open in the corner. She just shot, made one, missed one, but was a good shot, made another one.
This timeout is brought to you by Cygnett. This game has been sensational so far. For the fans tuning in from home or on the go, make sure your Cygnett charging products are ready to power up your devices because you won't want to miss a second of the action. Check out the extensive range of Aussie design digital accessories right for you at cygnett.com. So this game quite evenly poised, Laurie. Capitals 31-27. They started off this quarter really well. And Lizzie Tonks has got 9 points to her name, so good to see a starter getting some really valuable early points.
Absolutely, and that brings their three-point percentage up to 41%. So they're being selective in the shots they take, their three-point shooting, so they want to continue in that vein. But right now, I'm not sure if Lizzie Tonks has stayed on or she's been subbed off, but if she is on, I would run a play to her because she's got the hot hand. They need to, I'm sure that's what Nat Hurst is talking about right now, that you've got to get out to their shooters and carry hands. But they've replaced her with Britt Smart, who we also know is a great three-point shooter, so the scout would say exactly the same.
The headaches don't end there for Adelaide. A like-for-like replacement. Tox getting a well-deserved break, and Britt Smart looking to add to her 3 points for the night. Let's see how the Lightning respond after that Nat Hurst timeout. They've just scored the 2 points so far this second term. Ball lays. She'd love to get going once again. Into Brooke. Mansfield.
And you can see Canberra have gone into a bit of a zone, a 2-3 zone.
And it's
really
worked out there.
It does, and that's something you have to be aware of. Out of timeouts or quarter time, halftime, often that'll be the case, and so you've got to be prepared as a team.
Munga swings it out to Smart, and now Pizzi back to Smart. Pizzi, long two, is good.
As I mentioned in the start, she's playing with so much more confidence. She's getting more minutes, and you can just see the confidence rise. But Munger
comes in like a freight train. Burrell couldn't make it rain. That block from Munger was enormous. Mansfield into Cabillo. Adelaide just moving a bit slower than usual. And Cabillo can't make the shot, so it's all Canberra.
Well, you see, there was no shift in the defense, so it was an easy rebound by Canberra. But a fumble here, this should be an automatic 2.
Cabillo stopped and prop, ball lays. Mansfield couldn't get the open look. Talbot somehow came up with it, but Munger cradled it on her chest. Interestingly, Laura Mansfield yet to score this game. Smart has, though. That's 2 threes for her.
I think they better mark that X in the corner there. That's been a favorite spot for a few of the teammates.
I think Adelaide in particular would like to mark that spot a bit closer too. Mansfield. Again, Munger's there. And Pizzi can put the Jets on instead, gives it to a trustworthy source in Melbourne. Burrell to Smart. Crowd is screaming out options for these players. Pizzi instead goes alone, but she couldn't bank it in. Adelaide looking to arrest some momentum back in their favour. Brooke into Talbot. Double teams immediately. Good defense again from the Caps. Talbot can't quite believe it. But it was Nicole Munger's work again. She's been the unsung hero this game.
Well, she has. She just came right across from her player and was disruptive, got her hand in there. And Talbot got called for the offensive foul.
So Kaleo bringing it up for the Capitals. They've kept Adelaide to just 2 points. We've still got 4 minutes to play, or just under, in this opening half. Can Canberra inflict further damage? No, instead Munger's blocked, gets it back. Kalea. Munger. She wanted that basket, probably deserved that basket. She's been doing it all on the defensive end. Got a chance on the offensive end, and instead Adelaide get it back. Talbot still debating that call on the opposite end. She gets on with it. Because Adelaide do need to get on with it. Down 36-27. Brooke. Munro. And Adelaide get the call there. So some good fortune going their way.
Well, I'm glad to see Munro getting a little bit more involved. She's been really quiet. She only has 2 points. So get it into her, let the defense collapse or whatever, and then Steph Talbot, really good slash to the basket.
You can see Tuliak guarding Munro. She just gets back to her now. And gets fouled on the way in. 2 shots coming up for Jacinta Munro, so a chance for her to inflict herself in this game.
Well, she needs to, especially if Beck Pizzi's off. You know, she's got height out there and experience. She needs to get more involved.
She had a really positive game against the Caps last time these two teams met. 19 points, 6 rebounds and 3 assists. Coming off 8 points. Again, 6 rebounds and 3 assists against Southside last week in that 1-point loss. She makes the first free throw. Some much needed points here for the Lightning. Monroe composes herself and can't make the second one. And the crowd, they're riding every wave. It's great to see. Packed out National Convention Centre as usual. Kalea, Tuliak. Looking for an option, gets Burrell. Shot clock in single figures, but the whistle blew and the basket will not count. So the call will go against Canberra there. Burrell just a bit confused about it all.
Well, I think it was Tuliak actually posting up and trying to back her player down and maybe did it a little. I don't think it was on Burrell. I believe it was on, see inside there, you could just see her hooking her player and holding her just to try and get that post seal, and that's where the foul came from.
So a good spot there by the referee. And Burrell will take a seat. The second foul of the game. Monroe spinning on Pizzi.
That's what she needs to do. Get yourself involved, Monroe, and you can do so much out there.
Kalea. Pizzi. Can she get some payback? Another off-ball foul. So it's getting a bit aggressive out there. Both teams obviously hunting for that much-needed win. Canberra will get it back from the sideline. 2.5 minutes left in this opening half. Melbourne, guarded by bola, as you mentioned. What a cracking matchup that is. Munga pulls up, and that's great from Nicole Munga.
And it's just quality from Munga. Just so much poise out there. Pulled up on a dime and made that finish look so easy.
Interestingly, that's her first basket for the game. She's been dominating, but just yet to dominate on the scoreboard. Mansfield, she's yet to score as well. Shot clock down to 5. Pulls the trigger now. Gets it back from Talbot. It's good offensive boards from Adelaide, but once again, the Capitals read it better. And Munga off and running again. Just stops and props. Gives it to Melbourne. Oh, a clever little pass out to Smart, and she converts!
X marks the spot. It may be on the other side, but it is still in the corner.
The Capitals shooting the lights out from three-point range. It prompts a timeout. And what a pass there from Melbourne. Sort of a little flick up. And Smart did the rest. Thanks. The guard there for the pass. But Nat Hurst has some thinking to do, Laurie. Her team down 41-30. What's she saying here? What's she drawing up in this last 1 minute 45?
I think it's got to come from the defensive end. 41 for the Capitals, and there's still 1:45 to go. It's just too much. They've got to lock in, you know, and be stronger with what they do out there. Be more disruptive. Get a handout to their shooters. Right now, you know, 43% the Caps are shooting. So they've got to make sure that they're taking care of business defensively. That'll flow into offense, as we know it does. Get a good stop, get out and run, but it's got to start at the defensive end.
I'm guessing Healy's probably saying, Britt, just keep shooting those threes. If she brings Tonks back on, she can do it as well, but they're shooting at a great clip from that range.
Well, they certainly have a wide range of scorers, and it's harder to defend a team when everybody's getting involved with scoring, as opposed to, you know, one player dominating, and you can say, okay, go shut that one player down. But right now, it's a real team effort.
All Canberra starters are in the points. Britt Smart's contributed 9 off the bench. All 3-pointers.
Isn't it great to see the crowd in Canberra? Only one win, and yet they're still come out in droves to support this team and support them very vocally.
They're a great bunch. The Capitals fans, they broke their membership record earlier this season, averaging a great attendance, one of the best in the league. And now they come to a hush as Melbourne brings it down with just under 90 seconds to play in this opening half. Scoops it into Munga. Smart. She's not in the corner. And she gets the ball tapped out of her hands. But it will fall back to Canberra.
6 seconds on the shot clock.
So they've got to move it quickly here on this set. And Burrell will inbound it.
By the UC Capitals.
So a quick sub will be made. Or actually a timeout. So Kristen Veal will draw up a play here. What do you think that quick timeout was for, Laurie? What was she thinking?
I think you know, you have a timeout. You get 2 per half, 3 in the second half, 2 in the first half. So if you've got a timeout, again, it can be a teaching timeout. Okay, so we've got this left. We've got possession. You know, when we have the ball, we want to make sure that we're doing this and draw something up and see if the players can go out and execute it. So again, it's a way of teaching within a game.
I'm sure Nat Hurst will be doing the same. You can see she's pretty adamant in her timeout. Not quite happy with what her side's producing so far, and seems to be asking questions of her players too, Laurie. So it's a very intense timeout for both teams, really.
Well, I'm sure Nat Hurst would be asking her players, you know, who's going to step up, who's going to play, and I'm sure they'll address this at halftime, but they still have a minute 14, so they want to get a couple of stops and bring this margin back under 10.
And Canberra have 6 seconds to work with once they get back on the court here.
So again, it's really good as a coach, and we know this is Veely's first season as the head coach. See if her players can go out and execute. They would have drawn up something really specifically, see if they can execute, whether they make the shot or not, but it's about, do they get the correct shot?
So Munro takes care of business there, but they'll get another go at it.
They will, except now it's from the sidelines, so the look of the play is slightly different.
Was that timeout probably for nothing then? I think the referees will confer and see if there's the exact right time on the clock. Just a little bit of a delay there. Kristen Veal using every opportunity to try and bark some instructions. So I think the scoreboards, the shot clock, sorry, might need a bit of fixing, and we get it done now. Smart. Can't get the finish. Had to put it up quickly, as we know. Whittle gets another reverse layup. Very nice from Marina Whittle. That's exactly what Adelaide needed on the stroke of halftime. They keep inflicting some damage. Burrell puts the spin move on and will go to the line for 2.
That's hard to defend when she gets in motion, Burrell, and you know, spins, and she's got that long reach to get her shot up over that defender. It's hard to defend. See, Marina Whittle did a pretty good job of keeping her in front and then carrying a hand.
Whittle makes the first one. She's humming along nicely tonight. 10 points, 3 from 9 from the field.
Yes!
Pops the second one in too.
12 points.
So under a minute now for Adelaide to try and get some sort of momentum heading into the main break.
Some good extended pressure.
Borlase yet to get on the scoreboard this term. Whittle, can she get back-to-back buckets? Goes from the 3-point line. That one rattles out, and ooh, 3 players crash the deck hard. Melbourne, Burrell and Talbot flying in for that offensive rebound. See why she's slow to get up. We'll hold her breath, but Steph Talbot gets her breath back. You can see her just climbing over the defense here.
Personal foul number 1, Jade Melbourne.
You just hope in that situation nobody's hit their head on the floor on the way down.
All looks to be okay for the time being. Talbot will get herself a couple of shots for her troubles. Can't knock down the first one though. So 43-32, 27.4 seconds left in the opening half. Talbot knocks down the second. Melbourne, a team up by 10. Munga. Out to Melbourne. And now Burrell. Shot clock in single digits. She goes to work on Munro. Gets underneath her and gets the bucket too.
Just a little shot fake. Got her defender up in the air, but we'll see if Talbot can answer at the other end.
And she can't. What a second quarter there from the Capitals, and an opening half, really. They lead 45. Adelaide are 33. You can see they're up and about, the Caps. The crowd's up and about too. Kristen Veal should be pretty happy with her team's performance in the first half, Laurie.
Well, they had a really good second quarter, and again, I keep emphasizing this, but it was a team effort. Whilst Burrell has 14 points, I thought it was her teammates. Britt Smart came on and did a good job with her three-point shooting. So it's a team effort, and they just need to keep that going for the second half.
So a 22-8 second quarter there from the Capitals, and you can see why with some of these highlights we're watching on your screen now. They just were lining it up from the three-point range. Adelaide could not get going throughout that quarter. But what do you think was the key to that run, Laurie?
Well, I think it was the way they worked the ball around in their shot selection. And Adelaide really, they need to up their defensive intensity and make sure that they are not letting Canberra feel comfortable. But Britt Smart got a couple from those corner shots, and we know that's her favorite spot, so take that away from her. But Steph Talbot's trying hard in there. But again, good defense by Munger to come across. So Canberra aren't doing a lot wrong right now.
Well, the leading scorers so far, you mentioned Ray Burrell, Laurie, with 14 points for Canberra. And then Tonks and Smart each on 9 points apiece. Melbourne with 7. And then rounding it out for Adelaide, Talbot with 9 and Borlase with 8. But don't go anywhere. We've got a really exciting second half coming up. At the moment, it is Canberra leading Adelaide by 12 points at the National Convention Centre. We'll see you soon.
She'll start the offensive for the Flames. Coming out of nowhere was Woods with the denial.
Great effort. She could have easily given up, but she didn't.
Thornton. Oh, beautiful dish into Blitzarves. Shot clock ticks down to 5 now. Mansfield pulls up for a long three. That is massive from Mansfield.
There it is.
Thornton pops it in for the Flyers. Between game clock and shot clock. Talbot for the win. Can't convert. Whittle taps it back in. Bishop holds on to it. It's a monumental victory for the Southside Flyers. She'll get it back from Whittle. A behind-the-back pass to Talbot.
Oh, I think that'll be in the highlight reel. How good was that?
Can't get it to go. Samuelson pulls the trigger. Still out on the floor. Samuelson. Boom! And they pulled off a close win tonight. Whitcomb, lovely look-away bounce pass to clinch Hoycard.
She is just exceptional, Sammy Whitcomb.
Needs a shot up, and it's Atwell, the right person for the job. So Perth's winning ways continue. They have won 7 in a row.
Sports fans, this is your chance to be part of history and celebrate Australia's greatest basketballer of all time.
Yes, Lauren Jackson, you are the queen of basketball, and we love it.
LJ's Southside Flyers host the Sydney Flames in the first ever WNBL game at John Cain Arena.
Oh, she's feeling it. She's seriously feeling it.
You won't want to miss this history-making moment in women's basketball. Be part of a record WNBL crowd. Tickets on sale now at Ticketek.
Do not underestimate the power of a good blind. Take this exhausted couch. Now it stands before you. Magnifique. Even this cocktail of dead skin is gracefully waltzing. Da 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 da. DIY blinds, change the ugly.
We've been wanting to have a baby for about 4 years. We have to travel to Sydney for a week, take time off work. The hardest part is waiting.
1,000 kilometres.
Travel to Sydney, take time off work.
Over and over and over again. These salt of the earth country cops won't give up on their dream.
We're willing to do whatever it takes to bring a child into our lives.
Big Miracles starts Monday after Married.
Gossip Girl here, your one and only source into the scandalous lives of Manhattan's elite. XOXO Gossip Girl.
Get your summer streaming on 9 now.
So baby, in 90 days, we're gonna be husband and wife.
I was with her for 5 days, and then I proposed to her.
She's so eager to be in love, she lets red flags just go.
People say 19-year-old, she's just using you. Maybe she could be.
90 Day Fiancé. Get your summer streaming on 9 now. Tune in to the WNBL show, dropping weekly during the season and released across your favourite podcast network every Tuesday. Or watch the full vodcast at WNBL.basketbol.
League MVP.
I'll never get used to that, by the way. That's a bit strange.
We can always come to you for a great inspirational quote.
Join me, Megan Hustray, and my team of co-hosts, stars across the league, as we talk about everything that's happening on and off the court in the Cygnett WNBL.
Hi Hoopers, I'm Tess Madgen. I'm so excited to be offering virtual masterclasses this school holidays with She Hoops. Starting on the 9th of January at 5:30pm every Monday night. In this 5-week series, we will be delivering a range of basketball skills. I will also take you through a number of mobility skills designed to keep your body active and engaged. And the best part is that it's free. Go to shehoops.com.au to register now and secure your spot.
Did you know that 100% of Aussies want more? More money, more time, more Harry and Meghan? What? That's why the 100 have decided to give you more.
More what?
Well, more Sophie Monk.
OMG. All right. More. OMG.
That's enough. That's enough, Sophie.
OMG. Yes. I agree. That girl is way too much. Chin up.
The new season of The 100 with more Sophie starts Tuesday after Married on 9.
Do I get a slow-mo shot?
OMG.
Australia's first celebrity chef vanishes without a trace. What happened when 3 people went prospecting and only one came back? The most public mafia hit in Australian history.
In all her experience, Liz Hayes has never seen
It's the worst question in the world to ask somebody. Do you think your mother killed your father?
cases like these. Starts Wednesday after Married on 9. It's the biggest WNBL season yet, and superstar Lauren Jackson returns. Turn it up. Don't miss a block, basket, or game winner.
Just not steal the win.
WNBL, live on 9 now.
Welcome back to the National Convention Centre on Ngunnawal Country, where it is the Caps leading the Lightning by 12 points at halftime. Julia Montesano and Laurie Chiswick here to take you through the second half, live and free on 9 Now. Here are the match stats for the game so far. Laurie, is there anything that sort of stands out to you or catches your eye?
Well, again, it's what the Caps are doing and their percentage of shooting. Their three-point shooting is 44% compared to 25% for Adelaide, and that's really the difference. Adelaide haven't been able to get out and get a hand, and they've had some really wide-open looks, not necessarily contested threes, wide-open threes, and they're taking that opportunity and nailing them.
Well, Ray Burrell has been leading by example for the Caps. She's had 14 points. She's 4 from 10 from the field and also 6 from 7 from free throw range. Laurie, what have you thought of her game so far?
Well, as I mentioned during the call, I think she's gotten better and better with this league. And that shot we just saw there, that was against physicality. That was against contact, as with that one. So she's able to use her length and finish. And she's got some good handles out there, change of pace. And she's just so athletic, Burrell. So she's really difficult to guard. And they're giving her the ball and making use of that. So Burrell, I like what she's doing. She's got to continue to do that. She's got to continue to stay involved, and that'll go a long way to securing the W for the Capitals.
And speaking of continuing to show up and continuing to improve for Burrell, what do the Caps have to do to win this game and get their second win of the season?
Wouldn't that be exciting in front of their home crowd again? Well, again, I think they need to. They've done a really good job in that first half of taking care of the basketball. They've only got 4 turnovers. So that's really important because they've gotten shots up most times down the court. But I have no doubt that Adelaide would have talked about upping their defensive intensity. It was just a little bit too comfortable for Canberra. They've got to get in the passing lanes. They've got to get up and in, have active hands, active feet, and make Canberra think about their shots, not let them reverse the ball so easily, get it through hands. So they've got to be way more proactive, Adelaide, instead of reactive. And then Canberra have to stand that pressure. That's what's happened to Canberra in the past. They've been really competitive for 2-3 quarters, and when the pressure gets amped up, they sort of don't, it's almost like it's a surprise. Well, it can't be a surprise. You have to know a team like Adelaide. They're well coached. There's some great players. They're going to come out and put some pressure on Canberra this next half.
The second half, we're ready to roll at the National Convention Centre. Canberra going with the starters they've had for this game. But they have some great bench depth as well. Sharika Leah's come on for some important minutes. Britt Smart's hit 9 off the bench. Adelaide have welcomed in Chelsea Brooke. She'll be inbounding it now to get this second half underway. Big win here. Beckons for either side. A drought-breaking win. Both won of their past 4. Both coming off 1-point losses. Both desperate for a victory. Mansfield couldn't get on the board. And Canberra take the first rebound of the second half. And Melbourne can get off and running. Double team, so she gets it back to Munger, and now Burrell. Uses that trademark footwork, but can't get her 16th point of the game just yet. Talbot now. She'd love to get her game going. 3 from 10 from the field for her tonight. Borlase dumps it into Mansfield. Driving hard to the basket. Munro's there to help and gets the N1. A crucial start there for Adelaide.
Well, it was a great follow-up by Munro to get that rebound, that putback, and finish. Because that was a tough shot by Mansfield. But I like the fact the last 2 plays, or the first 2 of this quarter, Mansfield's getting involved. So she's had 5 assists, but she's got 0 points. So we know that she can score. She's averaging almost 12 points a game. And so they need her not only being a facilitator, but trying to score as well, which we've seen the last 2 times down the floor.
So Munro converts the 3-point play there. And Melbourne, see if she can get an instant response for her team. Munger into Pizzi. Goes from long range, Beck Pizzi, and makes it rain.
Beck Pizzi.
She's been solid on the defensive end tonight and getting her eye in from long range too. Borlase. It's a nice move from the youngster.
I'm glad she didn't pull out of that drive because she had Melbourne right on her shoulder, but what a nice find. Oh, unfortunate for Tonks that she couldn't finish that.
Talbot, her team back within 10. Bourlays, back-to-back buckets for her. Nice drive there.
And we mentioned off air, Julia, that we just thought Bourlays went a little bit quiet there in that second quarter, so it's great to see she's come back out and ready to be more of a part of that scoring.
Pizzi, speaking of scoring, this time hands it off to Melbourne, gets it back. Really nice movement there from the Caps.
Nice finish by Pizzi. She was under a lot of pressure from a couple of defenders that had collapsed. Eyes were on the target, finished strongly.
Mansfield, Bourlays, can it be 3 in a row for Izzy Bourlays? Not quite. Melbourne puts the Jets on. Burrell with it now. Good D there by Mansfield. Can't get it back. Tonks and Melbourne combine in the backcourt.
Clock shot hadn't reset because nobody got possession. Oh, Melbourne!
Jade Melbourne makes it rain. She's so good, comes up clutch. When time's ticking down, we all remember that half-court shot that she took earlier in the season as well. She's made for these moments. Talbot. Can't bake that one in.
Good decision by Talbot. She had a mismatch with Tonks. Tonks just kept her arms straight up.
And that's Munga's 8th rebound of the night. Just 2 points for her. So very interesting times for Nicole Munga. Can she get on the scoreboard? Not this time. Talbot. Putting the moves on Jade Melbourne. And spinning around the defense successfully.
Talbot made that look so easy. It's just a stroll in the park, drive in, have a little spin.
Just a regular night out for Steph Talbot. Burrell hits the deck hard. Very low as soon as she dribbled. And Munro there just conceding the foul.
Back on to the UC Caps, Britt Smart.
So a few subs for both teams. Bourlays comes off for Adelaide and Britt Smart comes on for Canberra. Britt Smart with 9 points for this ball game. Burrell. Oh, just backs down Talbot. Oh, the crowd willing that shot to go in. Talbot, though, with all the composure in the world, gets ready for this offensive set for Adelaide. Mansfield, finally on the board.
Well, I'm not sure if the head tap by Steph Talbot meant for Mansfield to come off of that and shoot the 3, but it certainly worked.
No, Mansfield took up to about the 6-minute mark of this third quarter to get on the board. Smart just can't grab the handle.
And that's what Canberra can't afford to do. They need to just keep things easy. Don't try and get fancy. Don't try and get tricky. Just, you know, make sure you've got vision when you make your passes. Make sure they're crisp, sharp passes. You've got eye contact. And keep it simple.
This time out is brought to you by DIY Blinds. To fit out your home with Australian-made designer quality window furnishings at the best prices, head to DIYblinds.com.au to order your free samples today. So I thought a good time out there by Kristen Violo. You can see a rare error for them, and she's just composed them back straight away.
Well, and that's what they need to do. They just need to get that instruction of, all right, we're doing well, but we need to make sure that we don't go away from things that got us here. And that's, you know, really good ball movement, really good player movement, working together, and our shot selections. And so that's what she'd just be reinforcing right now is let's go back to those basics.
So Adelaide winning the quarters so far. Do you think Nat Hurst is satisfied, I suppose, with the start that Adelaide's come out with, or do you think she wants a bit more?
Well, I think as long as they're doing the things that they talked about at halftime, if they change their defensive rules, we saw Monroe try and go out with a really hard show. Now she got, you know, it was a foul was called, but if that's what the instructions were and they're doing that, then yes, she would be happy, because that's what you want as a coach. It's hard to make adjustments to the game plan if the game plan isn't being executed to begin with. So I would think that she'd be happy with the start of this third quarter.
And it seems like the emphasis on the Adelaide end is on Steph Talbot, no surprise. She's up to a double-double this game already, 11 points, 11 rebounds to go with a couple of assists. Can't get involved here because Monroe loses the handle. Steps into the backcourt. Canberra get an important stop after that timeout. Leading 53-45. Just about to tick over the halfway mark of this third term.
I think Monroe had a little, you know, I thought that Britt Smart got her hand and that's what knocked it away. I guess they felt that it wasn't an actual possession, that it was still a loose ball.
Yeah, very close call there, but Canberra fans will be happy with it. It's in the hands of Britt Smart. Now Nicole Munger. Has been a revelation this season, puts the spin cycle on, and that's a clever finish from Nicole Munger.
I just really like her. Every time I watch her play, I like her more and more, and what she does and her demeanor.
I'll tell you who I like, and that's Steph Talbot.
That's just veteran play, using her body, reading where the defense, and a great pass to her as well.
So Adelaide starting to slowly work their way into this game. Smart. Oh, a nice little step around Book.
I think she was of two minds there. Should I shoot it? Should I step through? But good decision to step through.
Nice look, slow motion. These players making it look easy out there. Great standard, WNBL basketball. Brooke gets a mismatch, but instead passes it to the back of Pizzi, and Melbourne's off and running. A nice pass to Burrell. That's great play there from the Caps.
That is a great, what you'd call your classic 3-on-2. Melbourne kept the ball, suckered the defense in, didn't let her pass be read, and
Burrell goes bang on Talbot. This is not in my house, Dal. And Melbourne gets the finish on the offensive end. And a nice little body bump there with Mama. The Caps are feeling it right now. The home crowd's up and about. Timeout called. Capitals 61, Lightning 47. Nice bit of energy there from the Caps, Laurie.
Well, it is, because the Adelaide Lightning were threatening to sort of take control of this quarter, and we're sort of inching away, but there, Steph Talbot, but what a block by Burrell, and then the push by Melbourne, and then just that finish. Great timeout, but again, I love the enthusiasm. I love the fact that they show it out there, and they're excited in front of their fans.
Just quietly, that brings Melbourne up to 10 points. She's got 4 rebounds and 6 assists, so she's stuck with the stat sheet tonight. And that Hurst will be a bit worried in that timeout, Laurie.
Well, again, she, you know, lots of game left, so she wants to just settle them and talk about how to, you know, I mean, these are momentum timeouts. You've got to take away the momentum from the Capitals right now and get back on track yourself. Again, going into this last 4 minutes, you'd want to try and get this margin at least under 10.
Certainly doable. Adelaide play a high-octane offense. They can score really quickly.
But again, as I talked about, I think Adelaide can still be putting more pressure on the Capitals. You know, make them feel uncomfortable in what they're doing. Right now, you can feel all the energy with them. They're in their home crowd. The crowd's behind them. So they've got to try and deflate that, take that away. And by doing that, you've got to make things difficult for them. So make them play some defense here. Nothing easy. And then at that other end, get all over them.
Talbot looking for an option. Goes over Munro's head, and the Capitals bench her up again because that's another stop.
Well, I thought that was it was just telegraphed by Talbot that's what, you know, everybody knew that was the pass she was looking for. So it gave the defense the opportunity to collapse and make it really difficult.
Smart now. Gets the ball tapped out of her hands, and Adelaide get one back. Britt Smart again finding herself in two minds. It's to the benefit of Lauren Mansfield and Adelaide. We've got 3.5 minutes to work with in this third term to get some points on the board. And again, the pass is just not right for the Lightning.
Nope, just not the right reads. They were trying to go to, Mansfield was trying to go to Monroe and just, but what a pass that was! Now that is a lesson in a good pass. And again, smile on Pizzy's face, but what a read.
Jade Melbourne doesn't need eyes for passes. Just flicks it wherever she wants and her players are right there to help. That is elite work for Jade Melbourne. We know she's in really the infancy of her career, but she's doing things like that.
Well, and the thing is that Pizzy rolled as a scorer. Whether she got the ball or not, she was ready for it, and you have to be ready for the ball. When you cut, you have to cut as a scorer. When you roll, you have to roll as a scorer. Because if that ball comes into your hand by a pass like that, now I think that might be an unsportsmanlike call because there was no defender in front of Talbot, and it would have been a fast break situation. We'll see what the referees called.
In terms of the scoreline, Canberra's out to their biggest lead of the game, 63-47 now. Let's take a look at this replay here. So Munga, there was no one in front of Talbot, so in a sense that'll be what the call is. And there she is, alone at the free throw line. Gets the first one to go. And increases her point tally. She's really a lone soldier for Adelaide tonight so far. Other players have had their moments, but Steph Talbot's stayed as consistent as she could. And she ends at 8-0 scoring run for Canberra with those free throws. Driving in now. Got a lot of players to contend with, but that's what Steph Talbot does.
Well, the last couple of times on that pick and roll, they've been really telegraphing and looking to pass it to Monroe, and whilst Talbot looked, she kept driving herself. Good decision.
So it looks like it would be a baseline ball. A foul called from the refs there. And a few subs will come into the game. Ray Burrell's back on the floor for Canberra. And the crowd rejoice. She's on 16 points for this ball game. And she gets it back here from Smart. Is left wide open, but can't convert the three. Pizzy still fighting hard for that rebound. But the call goes against her. That's the intent that Kristen Veal would be loving right now. Just fighting for every scrap at the moment, the Caps. They're feeling all the confidence in the world in front of their home fans.
Marina Whittle back on the court.
And Tuliak on for Canberra. Talbot. Again, just confronted by a heap of Canberra defenders. But she was fouled in the process. So now it's become a bit stop-start with a few fouls being called in recent minutes. So this might work to Adelaide's favour, a chance for them to try and capitalise.
Nobody's in the bonus situation yet.
Monroe to Whittle. Talbot. Shot clock in single figures. Cabillo. Got 5 seconds to work with. And again, that last pass for Adelaide, they just do so much right going up the floor, Laurie. And then just that last pass has just been disappointing so many times.
Well, and it's all to trying to get it to Monroe. And that's fine to have a focus, but you've got to read that. Cabillo could have just pulled up there.
Oh, Tuliak with a little spin cycle of her own there. And this time Pizzy trying to feed Melbourne. And Burrell gets the stop. Goes up against Talbot, and that's an offensive foul. Great defense from Steph Talbot. We expect no less, really.
That was a few errors from both teams in that last 30 seconds, culminating in a offensive foul. But what great position by Steph Talbot.
Probably not a play that the coaches want to look back on, but Tell you what, Kristen Veal is going to like a lot of things she sees tonight so far. Her team leading 63-51. A minute 22 left in the third term.
We're exactly where we were at halftime, a 12-point margin.
And that foul puts the Capitals in the bonus, so Lightning can try and drive hard to the basket, maybe get themselves to the line and get some momentum that way. Cabillo. Spinning around Tuliak, and then they find Munro, finally!
And as I think you said earlier, Julia, that's her range, that's her comfort area, that foul line area.
Tuliak. Burrell. Goes from the same spot, but doesn't have the same result. Whittle comes down hard with it.
I feel like Adelaide have been let off the hook a little bit. Both those pick and rolls, Munro stood off in almost a drop situation, and Burrell's come off both times and missed that jump shot. But she can nail those, and so I'm not sure I'd be leaving her as wide open as she is.
So Marina Whittle will head to the free throw line and take a couple of shots. Had 18 points the last time these two teams faced, and 12 points against Southside last week. As you can see on your screen, Southside, of course, in action on Saturday night at John Cain Arena.
Oh, I can't wait to go to that game. It's going to be really fun to be part of history, to acknowledge Jackson.
She certainly rise up to the occasion. Make sure you get your tickets at Ticketek, as you saw on your screen. Although Melbourne putting the moves on. Goes to the line for two. She's just really unpredictable, Jane Melbourne. You just don't know what she's going to do when she gets the ball in hand, but you know it's going to be full of class.
Well, that was really just a good, hard drive, and she was strong with the ball, which meant that she was able to, to finish and didn't get it knocked out of her hands at all.
See there, she's absolutely stuffing the stats sheet tonight. Get that word out properly. But it's 12 points, 5 rebounds, and 8 assists.
We could be on double-double watch for her with points and assists.
We could be on triple-double watch, Laurie. There's still plenty of time, too, for Jade Melbourne. She's lighting it up so far tonight. Oh, and Whittle just collides into her. That's a heavy hit. And her head just hit the floor really hard there, too.
Ooh, I think it was head on head.
The crowd comes to a bit of silence there. Melbourne undoubtedly slow to get up.
Yeah, they'll need to really have a look at that. Make sure she's okay.
So she'll take a seat and see she's surrounded by physios and Canberra's medical team. It's one player that Canberra won't want to lose. She's going to head straight to the rooms with 33 seconds left in the third period. Whittle's out there still good. And Burrell will inbound here for the Caps. Still a handy lead for her side.
The Lightning have it under that 10-point margin we talked about, so 8 points. Canberra want to try and steady the ship and get a good last shot here.
So again, I think that scoreboard might be playing up, so a little delay here. And Nat Hurst also asking you a few questions. Just hasn't been Adelaide's game so far. But by all means, it is not over. Let's see what Canberra have got in this last 30 seconds. Munga. Smart. Kalea. Adelaide ball. I think it was a foul call, in fact, so
that was enough.
Adelaide won't go to the line, I don't think. So the call was an off-the-ball offensive foul, so regular possession for Adelaide.
Now they want to make sure they take the last shot of the quarter.
Couldn't be in better hands with Steph Talbot. She gets it back from Cabello. 17 points, 12 rebounds for her. Oh, and she just spins around every player on the court. And that's the finish Adelaide would have wanted to this third term.
Steph Talbot used the screen, the re-screen, another screen, and just wound her way into the basket.
So it's a tight game here at the National Convention Centre. At three-quarter time, it's Canberra 63, leading Adelaide 57. A much better quarter from the Lightning, Laurie.
Well, it was, and they got out to a good lead, Canberra, and so Adelaide really had to maintain their composure and just chip away at it. And I thought they did a really good job of staying composed, getting the ball through some hands, some different scoring options. Steph Talbot stepped up. She's ended up right now with 19 points, so she's really been a focus. But after they got over that initial sort of phase of trying to get the ball to Monroe in every different way, then they just started to play it and looked much better, much more relaxed.
And for the Capitals, we saw Jade Melbourne go off with that heavy hit late in that quarter. She's up to 12 points, 5 rebounds and 8 assists. She's leading the way there. But also Ray Burrell with 16 points. So a lot of players getting it done on the floor there for the Capitals. And you can see they're pretty close in the field goal range. Both teams shooting pretty well. And it's pretty even everywhere else, Laurie. I think we're in for a cracking finish.
Well, it is, and as long as both teams take care of the basketball, so that the fourth quarter we see, because we had a little bit of a right in the middle of that quarter where it was a turnover by one, a turnover by another, then an offensive, so you've got to take those out of your game and make sure that everything you do now is quality and you keep doing the easy things. And we see, thank goodness, Jade Melbourne's back out there. That's really good to see, because that was a heavy knock that she had. But keep things simple. Keep things, don't try and do things you haven't done so far this game or in the past. And that goes for both teams.
Don't go anywhere, folks. We're in for a ripping final term at the National Convention Centre. Canberra looking for their second win of the season. Adelaide looking for their fifth. Munga trying to get around Whittle. That's good defense early up by Whittle. Melbourne into Pizzi. They've been working in tandem tonight, those two, but it just doesn't work out on that occasion.
Again, she got Monroe in the air and a nice little step around, just wasn't able to finish.
Here is Monroe. 10 points for her this game. Talbot leading all scorers with 19.
There you go.
Oh, make that 22 for Steph Talbot. And just like that, the Lightning back within 3.
You can't even contemplate going under a pick and roll screen with Steph Talbot.
Melbourne to Burrell. Oh, and confronted there by Talbot. She's everywhere at the moment. You absolutely can't escape the might of Steph Talbot. She got a nasty block from Burrell at the other end, and she says, here's the payback. So 3 seconds on the shot clock. Burrell just has to pop up a prayer, and that doesn't go down. So Adelaide can potentially draw level or get within a point if they can convert successfully on this offensive set. Bolay's had the right idea.
She did. She went to do a dribble handoff, and instead of actually handing it off, she kept the ball in her hands, rounded the corner, took it to the basket.
The crowd suddenly a bit worried. Team up by just 3 points. Adelaide just have slowly worked themselves back into this game. It's been to the thanks of their skipper, Steph Talbot, who keeps showing up.
I love it when Steph Talbot is in this mode, this scoring mindset.
She's now 22 points, 1 point shy of her season high. Burrell responds instantly. Much needed basket there for the Caps. Cabello to Monroe, just dishes it into Whittle. Melbourne fouls.
Not a lot Melbourne can do there. Whittle did a great job, did her work nice and early, got Melbourne on her back, wasn't going to let her come around. Melbourne could only foul her.
Marina Whittle will head to the free throw line. She's been fantastic for the Lightning this season, just injected so much energy into their lineup. And she's shooting at 74% from this range.
You always know what you're going to get when Marina Whittle comes on the floor. She was a starter for a while. She's come off the bench. Whatever her role is, you know she's going to give you energy. She's going to give you physicality. She's going to generally give you good decision making.
And she's going to put her team back within a point of Canberra. So tight finish coming up. Melbourne goes behind the back on Cabillo. Dishes it into Pizzi, who manages to wrangle it to Munga. Big three ball from Nicole Munga.
Well, considering she's 0 from 3 from the three-point line, it was good to see that she didn't hesitate to take that shot.
Cabillo goes herself. That one just rims out, and there's Munga again. 9th rebound of the night for Nicole Munga. Gets it back here to Burrell. Going to work again on Talbot. This has been a great matchup. Talbot wins out this time. 24 points for Steph Talbot. A season high to go with 12 rebounds. And now 26 points. She just keeps dropping them in, Laurie.
Her new team, the LA Sparks, are just going to be looking at this and going, yes, great recruit. There we go, a steal by Talbot.
She's off again, just loses the handle, looking for a pass now. Cabillo, oh, trying to get under Burrell. That's not a player you want falling on top of you. Both players struggling after that collision. That was pretty hard to watch. Cabillo up on her feet, good to see Burrell just taking a bit of time there on the floor. Let's take a look again, and ouch. Both players feeling the might of that. And now Burrell's been the one getting checked out. So we had Melbourne go off late in that third term after getting a head-on clash there with Marina Whittle. And now Burrell hits the deck hard after a collision with Abby Cabillo. So Canberra putting all their effort in, but let's see if it comes at a big cost. Kristen Veal just hoping and praying it's not anything serious. She's up on her feet and she's feeling it. Seems to be an ankle.
Yeah, she's not putting very much weight, no weight on it at all. So that's really unfortunate to see her leaving the court.
Just must have got caught under Cabillo in that instance there.
Yeah.
She's heading straight off to the room, so we'll bring you an update on that as soon as we can. She's been the main instigator tonight, Ray Burrell. 18 points for the ball game. And that's a big loss in the context of the game as well if she is to stay off, because Capitals are leading by just 2. Can Munro level it? Not yet. Whittle. Maybe she can do it here. The call is jump ball. Good hustle there from Melbourne. And the players just picking themselves back up after that heavy hit. Everyone just came to a silence.
Yeah, they did. You never want to see that on the floor at all.
Munro. They've been looking for her all game. Her pass this time gets cut off. And Pizzi again working hard. Smart. Thought about getting it to Munga. Finds her now. Tonks. Pizzi from the corner.
Yes! Pizzi. She is just playing out of her skin, and it's so great to see. She's finally had these opportunities, and she's just rewarded the coach, the team, herself.
She just went past her season high as well, so she's having a really great game tonight. And Talbot, speaking of great games, 29 points now. 71-69. She's keeping Adelaide in it right off her own back. Let's see what Canberra can do here to curb her influence. Smart. Shot clock down to 5. She's got to find an option or go herself. Finds Tonks. That's a tough shot. Munga.
Munga, great offensive rebound.
She's been doing it all game, Nicole Munga.
She's just got such a high work ethic for the hard little things that sometimes aren't even statable.
Tonks has to put up the shot. The shot clock counts down, and that one just rims out. A crucial offensive set here for Adelaide, just stroking at the halfway mark of the 4th term. It's a good feed to Borlase. Scores are level.
Just that eye contact between Talbot and Borlase, they knew exactly what they were doing there.
Melbourne gets the finish. Canberra now back in front. It's end-to-end basketball at the National Convention Centre. Burrell's still off the floor for Canberra. Borlase, massive!
Borlase is known as a penetrator, so you can understand why Smart, maybe the direction was to go under, but Borlase, good recognition and the confidence to shoot that at this stage of the game. Fantastic.
Yet another lead change in this game as Munga can't finish it off. And a chance for Adelaide to create a tiny buffer. Right now, up by a point. For their 5th win of the season, their first road win of the season as well. Have not been successful away from Adelaide. Talbot into Munro. Goes to the line for a couple.
See, what I would like to happen there is come off that on ball, pass fake inside, defense is going to collapse, and then you've got your shooters wide open, and then you've got Munro in there as an offensive rebounder. Use your pass fakes. If the defense are anticipating that pass inside, use your pass fake and then distribute it to your shooters.
So Jacinta Munro has 10 points and 8 rebounds and 4 assists this game, so she's on the verge of a double-double. It's exactly what we expect from her. She silences the crowd by putting the first free throw in. Let's see what she can do with the second one. Every Adelaide fan riding on these free throws and riding on this game. It's hanging in the balance. They're desperate to see a Lightning win. The Caps fans are desperate to see a Capitals win, and that is an electric pass from Melbourne again.
That is elite, that passing from that court vision and that passing from Melbourne.
Munga there to finish it off. Crowd chants defense. Right with them now. Whittle going to work on Kalea and banking it in. So Whittle climbing up the score sheet. 13 points for her tonight. 10 rebounds, a double-double for Marina Whittle. Monroe loses her footing, allows Pizzi to get it to Kalea. Massive from the youngster.
That is massive. Such great poise by both teams right now.
Scores level, 3 minutes left in this ball game. Adelaide can sense the moment. Munro, as easy as you like.
Yeah, you got to carry a hand on that. Beck Pizzi just had her hands down low. That's certainly her range.
Munga to Smart, loves this range, and that's why! Britt Smart!
X marks the spot for Britt Smart in the corner.
We've been saying it all game, but she delivers in the clutch moments to put her team back in front. Cabillo scoops it into Whittle for back-to-back buckets. Pizzi blocked. Munro couldn't collect it. Canberra come up with the stop. And Melbourne's off and running. Kalea. Munga. Melbourne had to fight for it. Cabillo was right there with her. Now shot clock's down to 5. Smart again. Not quite. I think the crowd might have jumped out of their seats if that one went in. Britt Smart, 14 points, has hit every three-pointer that she's attempted tonight, albeit that one. And that's a big basket there from Cabillo.
It isn't. It's good to see Cabillo, the smallest player on the court, having no fear, driving it in hard, finishing. That's a tough finish.
Credit where credit's due. Abby Cabillo just finds a way. Playing against her old team, of course. 59 games with the Capitals. Can't convert that free throw. So this is where it counts. Every score, every offensive set.
Oh, that was almost a 8-second violation there. Canberra can't afford that sort of thing. They've still got to be aggressive in what they do offensively.
Tonks to Melbourne, shot clock in single figures. Melbourne's got to go. Does she realise she has to go? Puts it up from long range. Oh, of course she knows she has to go. She was waiting to go further and further back.
Oh my goodness. I'm not sure she did know. I think the crowd was helped her along there.
Oh, Canberra get a crucial stop here. Britt Smart off and running. Ball lays with her. Smart can't bank it in. That basket won't count. Smart's at the free throw line. And a big steal there.
Big steal by Britt Smart, and just, you know, stayed composed. She had Borlase running right behind her.
The margin sits at 2 points. See, there wasn't much Borlase could do. And Smart head to the free throw line after this timeout, which is brought to you by Aussie Hoops. The Aussie Hoops program had its biggest year to date with over 42,000 participants registering to a local Aussie Hoops centre nearby. Aussie Hoops is the perfect introduction to the world of basketball for kids aged 5 to 10 years. Whether your little one is a seasoned basketball fan or simply looking to get out there and give it a go, we have no doubt they'll have an absolute ball of a time. Register now to kickstart their basketball journey. So both coaches locked in timeouts. 2 points is the margin between these two sides. We mentioned at the top of the coverage, both teams coming off a 1-point loss. So the desperation is visible in the huddles, Laurie.
Well, and it's so great to look at the expressions of Nat Hurst and Kristen Beal. Once upon a time teammates, first coaches, first time as head coaches this year, desperate for a win, both of them. Just talking to their charges. They'd be setting up plays, they'd be setting up defense, imploring their players to whatever they're saying. And wow, what a great position. What a great game this has ended up being.
Absolutely. We're hanging on to every possession at the National Convention Centre. The crowd's getting up and about, trying to inject some energy. They absolutely love coming out to watch Canberra play. Their team leading by just 2 points. Their biggest lead of the game, Canberra, was 16.
You have to remember, Burrell's not on for this last few minutes. She's gone off with a, well, we hope not a serious injury. So this is crucial for them.
So Britt Smart at the free throw line. She's met with complete silence from the home fans. 14 points tonight, 5 from 8. Make that 15 points. Canberra up by 3. Can't knock down the second one. The clock ticks down now to just over a minute. What can Adelaide do to get the lead back? Talbot, she's been electric all game. 29 points, can she make it 30? Has to dish it out. And Canberra get the stop there.
That was good defense. As Talbot drove, there was just a little hedge. A hand got in there to knock the ball free.
We saw last night, undermanned Townsville without Reid and Nicholson, and now Canberra without Burrell. They've got 50 seconds to try and ice this game and not let Adelaide come back. They've been undermanned all season, really.
They really want to use the clock because it's a 2-possession game. So make sure they get a good shot here. 9 seconds on the clock.
So they're using up every bit of it. Melbourne, she's had that range before. She goes again. Jade Melbourne can't make it in this time. And Talbot off and running. Adelaide have got to go. 20 seconds to work with for Steph Talbot. Kicks it into the corner. Melbourne's there to cut it off.
So it's really important here, Canberra. Take away the 3-point shot. If you have to, give them a layup, but do not allow them to tie it up with a 3-point shot. And that's exactly what I'm sure Kristen Beal will be talking to her team about right now. Play good defense, but make sure you cover that three-point line. If somebody's driving in, don't leave somebody at the three-point line to help out.
This game is seriously a heart stopper. There's been so many close contests. These two teams just last week involved in one-point losses. You can see there, Melbourne just reading that pass perfectly from Talbot. He sensed Talbot will be the one in this play, Laurie. They're looking for a 3-ball. Talbot's with 29 points, 15 rebounds, and 4 assists. She's been lining it up all night.
Well, they need to set some screens to get each other open, and as I say, for Canberra, they just have to switch everything and deny it. But absolutely, they will need to, they can't afford to wait. They need to get their first best available three-point shot so that they have the chance, if they miss it, to get an offensive rebound and kick it back out for another three-point shot if possible.
Interestingly there, Nat Hurst not taking that timeout. One of her assistants drawing up a play. So it'll be interesting to see what Adelaide come out and do here.
Jonathan Goodman's a very experienced coach, and so he may have a good three-point play that they've maybe practiced or wanted to use, but we'll see what they do here.
So Capillo, probably with the most important inbound of her career so far, finds Borlase for 3. Oh! Ties the scores! Izzy Borlase comes up clutch. Timeout called.
Wow. What a well-executed play. Izzy Borlase, who is not known necessarily for her three-point shooting, but for her driving, and she had a hand in her face. What a great shot. Amazing shot by Borlase.
So 14 seconds left. Nat Hurst back in the timeout now. What's she drawing up? What's Kristen Veal drawing up? What are you drawing up, Laurie, if you're in that situation?
Well, again, the Lightning are in a good position in a way in that they've got 3 fouls that they can give until they send them to the line. So, and I've said this before, if Canberra are coming, they'll advance the ball. If all of a sudden you get beaten or they're looking like you're getting out of position, just foul. As long as it's not in the act of shooting, the play just stops and it gets rearranged. And so what Adelaide will be playing for is overtime. So they can afford to give away a couple of fouls if they feel like the situation's such that they need to give a foul away, as long as it's not in the act of shooting.
Do I dare say the O word, Laurie? Overtime. Are we bound for an extra 5 minutes? It's a pivotal 14 seconds here for the Caps. We don't know what's going to happen.
So interestingly, they chose not to advance the ball.
Melbourne been the playmaker all game. 17 points, 9 assists, 5 rebounds. Offensive foul! Huge call from the referee. The crowd don't like it. Adelaide absolutely love it.
That's a big call in the context of this game.
And Melbourne just with that arm out. Good D there from Abby Cabillo. So now it's up to Adelaide.
Now the difference is that the Capitals can't afford to foul.
So Cabillo with 7.4 seconds left. Talbot with 29 points, and this time it's Melbourne that hits the deck again. And again, an offensive foul.
Well, Chelsea Brooke came up to set a screen to help Talbot to make sure, but the referees deemed that it was an inappropriate screen.
Jade Melbourne again. She hit the deck hard in that third term, came off for a bit. Back on the floor now and heads into the timeout. 4.8 seconds left in this game. Scores are still level. It'll be a Canberra ball out of this. Jade Melbourne just fixing her hair. She says goodbye to the high bun, back to the low bun, back to business.
So in the space of a matter of seconds there, we had the offensive charge by Jade Melbourne and then an illegal screen set by Chelsea Brooke. So 2 really crucial, mistakes, calls right in that last, not giving either team. And now it's back to Canberra having the ball.
The crowd getting up and about. 4.8 seconds to work with for Kristen Veal and the Capitals. Nat Hurst asking some questions. These two teams coming off the 1-point loss. You said at the top of the coverage, Laurie, that they both had really themselves to thank for those losses in a way. They both just couldn't polish at the right times. And then tonight we see those two big foul calls, but a chance for Canberra to win it with 4.8 seconds, a chance for the Lightning to steal it with 4.8 seconds, or option 3, overtime at the National Convention Centre. It's all to play out. Smart with the ball. Tonks. Blocked by Talbot. Borlase can't put up the prayer in time.
Wow.
And we are going to overtime at the National Convention Centre. At end of regulation, it's 85 points apiece. We thought the Capitals might have had it in the bag, leading by as much as 16 points in the game. But they find themselves with an extra 5 minutes to play. No sign of Ray Burrell on the bench there. She came off with what appeared to be an ankle injury late in that fourth term. So Kristen Veal has a lot of thinking to do here, Laurie. Let's take a look at some of the highlights that we saw in that fourth term.
Well, that was
to play out.
Yeah, it was, you know, it was a lot about Steph Talbot and what she brought to the team. She's ended up right now with 29 points, 15 rebounds. So she really dominated but wow, give credit to both teams. You know, they both come off a 1-point loss, and now we have overtime.
It's an unbelievable league, the Cygnett WNBL. It keeps drawing up situations like this. Both teams leaving it all out there. And you know, in the ladder, it's 6th versus 8th, Laurie, so not a whole lot to play for in terms of finals for these two teams. But you can just see how much a win means for two young, developing teams.
Well, they don't have any chance of making finals. Perhaps they can help shape it. But this shot by Borlase to tie up the ball game was incredible. Well drawn up, well executed, great shot. But you're right, both teams, you know, they want to, there's only a couple of rounds to go, so they want to make sure that they're playing out this season as best as possible. Players would be playing for contracts. Players would be playing, you know, to maybe if they're not going to stay at the club they're at. So everybody still wants to put their best foot forward. And I tell you what, this game tonight, both teams have done just that.
So Steph Talbot, I just looked it up, her career high in the WNBL is 31 points. She sits on 29 at the moment. And it was against the UC Capitals in 2020 where she got that 31 points. So she's looking to repeat history, and this time hope for a W as well. As we head into overtime at the National Convention Centre for the second time this season. Adelaide have played an overtime game against Melbourne earlier on in the season. They didn't come up with the chocolates in that game. But tonight they'll fancy themselves. Melbourne can't get the scoring underway in this extra period. And Borlase, after that clutch 3, goes all the way to the hoop and goes to the line for 2. So Izzy Borlase having another impressive performance. 20 points, a couple of rebounds, and 3 from 3 from 3-point range as well. The most important 3 coming at the end of that regulation time.
Well, I really like that when she attacked Pizzy there. You know, she came out at the start of the game, and that was really her mindset, and she did a great job with that. We've seen her shoot a couple of 3s, so as we've said, she is tough to defend.
And misses both free throws. Very unlike Izzy Borlase, but this is the type of pressure that overtime brings. Smart to Tonks. And now Munga on the verge of a double-double herself. And it can't roll in. Mansfield to Borlase. Scoring still can't get underway yet. Mansfield trying to get around Munga. She's been relentless on defense tonight, Munga.
A lot of standing around by Adelaide. This is where you can't afford, if you're on the court, you can't afford to stand and spectate. You can't afford to just go, okay, somebody else is going to do it. Even if you're not involved in the play, you've got to somehow move a little bit, cut in, cut back out, keep your spacing, but you can't just stand and spectate. It's too easy for the defenders.
So Steph Talbot, a chance here to equal her career high. She's on 29 points, 15 rebounds, 4 assists, now 30 points.
Oh, when somebody's that close, you absolutely want them to top their previous record.
And that's exactly what she does, or equals it at least. And more importantly, in the context of this game, Adelaide go up by 2. Munga on the verge of a double-double. Looking for an option. Finds Melbourne. Smart. Has been lining it up from three-point range and does so again.
Great move to a receiver spot where Melbourne could see her. Melbourne was thinking about trying to maybe back down Kalia, but saw Britt Smart come to that spot. Great recognition.
Munro backing down on Pizzi. It's been a great matchup so far tonight.
I like how Pizzi's take a step away, didn't give Munro her body, so she couldn't really feel where she was.
Munga wanted Pizzi, but instead opts for Tonks. Here is Pizzi. Just asking her players to come towards her. Melbourne obliges and banks it in. She makes it look so easy, Jade Melbourne.
Oh, she just had to stretch that shooting arm out over the long arms of Munro.
For Mansfield to Cabillo. Adelaide down by 3. Mansfield's had a quiet game, just the 3 points for her. Talbot has had the exact opposite. Puts up a tough 2. This time it won't fall. And Tonks is fouled on the rebound. So a Canberra ball here from their opposite baseline. Melbourne just getting a quick drink on the bench. It's clever from Jade Melbourne just to get herself a tiny little breather. She's been working so hard all night. Munga over halfway in this overtime period in Canberra. Tonks. Offensive foul. And another player hits the deck hard.
Whichever team can show the most poise down the end. You could just see that little elbow extension from Tonks, hence the call from the referee. But whichever team can show enough poise to get it through hands, keep moving, keep putting pressure on the rim too. Get downhill, get to the basket, get to the foul line.
Cabillo.
Little horns action.
Oh, just bounce past it to no one. That's what really hurt them earlier in the game, just trying to find Munro and not finishing off those passes. And Canberra want to take advantage of that. Melbourne. Shot clock in single figures. This is Melbourne's specialty and dumps it into Pizzi.
That is poise from Jade Melbourne. Reading that there was they had switched, and so she had Munro on her. She knew that Pizzi was going to come up big.
So a 7-0 run here from Canberra. Talbot wants to end that streak and gets a career high, 33 points. Takes Adelaide's tally up to 89. They've got a minute 30 to try and win this game.
Let's hear for Thompson. Coming off the Cowboys, number 11, Sherry.
So a sub for Canberra. Elizabeth Tonks takes a seat. Cherie Kalea comes on, and what great moments for these young players, Laurie. Getting minutes in an overtime game, it's unrivaled experience.
Well, it is. It's not only just getting minutes in a WNBL game that maybe is not crunch, but this is crunch time, and it's double crunch time because it's overtime.
You mentioned the word double. It's still close. A minute 30. Munga can't add more influence to the scoreboard. Talbot can't dump it in. So Adelaide trying to move fast, and Canberra instead just taking some time. Kalea found open, kicked it out. And Melbourne again electing to slow it down as the clock ticks down below 60 seconds. Shot clock ticks down below 10. Melbourne goes to work and gets the finish. And lets out the biggest scream. I reckon you can hear that all the way from Melbourne.
What a great basket by Jade Melbourne. Again, we talk about poise, just her handles there, her ability to finish under pressure.
92 to 89. I don't think I've got
And she must be just
Canberra.
such a burst of energy for this team. Celebrates every little win. And right now, Canberra perhaps on the verge of a win. 5 points up. Kristen Veal barking some orders in this timeout, Laurie. 53.6 seconds left. Can they hold on?
Well, it's all about clock management right now. So they know that it's a two-possession game. So there's no doubt that Nat Hurst, we can see her drawing up something. They need a 3 and a 2. So again, the Lightning, they want to make sure they don't go negative at all. They've still got lots of pressure defensively. Make them shoot a contested shot, secure that rebound, then manage the clock. See how long it took them to put that shot up. Get it up the floor and then see what sort of shot you can get within the, again, when I say clock management, it's you're not letting it necessarily tick down, but you want to make sure you're taking the first best available shot.
So crucial seconds here for both teams. Canberra looking to get their second win of the season. Adelaide looking for their first road win of the season, their 5th overall. Both teams are 1-4 in their past 5 games. They've just come off 1-point losses, now battling in overtime. Adelaide have experienced this feeling before against Melbourne. They find themselves in that same situation again.
I was just going to say, this is what's been so great about the Cygnett WNBL this season is, these are 6 versus 8. And it's overtime, and there's desperation to win, and the fans are into it, and it's just so great to see these athletes performing.
Steph Talbot inbounding the ball for Adelaide. They've got all the work to do here. Cabillo, team down by 5. 46 seconds left now in the game. Talbot, blocked by Smart. And Melbourne, happy to work the ball.
And now I'm talking about clock management. Now you want to use that clock. Use the full clock.
And Adelaide do have fouls to give, so Boula's just use one there. Trying to give themselves every chance at winning this game, Adelaide. And again, Capitals are doing this without Ray Burrell. I believe it's a suspected ankle injury.
Adelaide need to try and either get a steal on this inbounds, but if they don't, they need to foul straight away and stop the clock.
That's what they do. Munga hits the deck. And again, Canberra come to a huddle. They've been communicating so well all night. Every opportunity they get, they come together, they talk about what's happening. They feel like a really united team.
Probably Munger wasn't the best person to foul in that. She's the best foul shooter on their team, shooting the free throws at almost 86%.
But pressure does funny things. Munger eats it up. Double-double for her. 10 points to go with 12 rebounds and 5 assists. Importantly, puts her team up by 6. And now 7. Adelaide, 26 seconds to work with. Mansfield pushes the ball, thought about the 3, spat around and gave it to Boula's instead, who can't bake in the 2, but was fouled on the approach. And again, the crowd comes to a hush. Both teams now in the bonus. 19.5 seconds left in the game. Boula's must make these free throws.
Well, it'll become a bit of a fouling, a shootout at the end from the foul line because, again, she makes these couple and then you've got to foul straight away to stop the clock.
So she misses. So Boula's had an opportunity in overtime at the free throw line and missed both. She's now missed 3 in a row. But she's able to make amends. And then a really big run from Canberra too. They've dominated this overtime period. 11 points to 4. Melbourne trapped and manages to get it out to Kalea, who just has to dribble it out for 10 seconds. Adelaide trying to foul, and eventually the call comes. And Kalea will head to the free throw line. Big moment for her as well. to show her composure and show what she's made of.
So whilst this doesn't, you know, mean anything into getting into playoffs or that, this now evens up the series between these two teams. And so that'll be good because you want to try and get a head-to-head against somebody. Adelaide won the first game way back in round 4, 90-80. And now we'll see that the Capitals will get this one done.
So Adelaide just happy to dribble it out. And the crowd get up and about because the Canberra Capitals have won their second game of the season in front of a delighted National Convention Centre. Kristen Veal records her second victory as coach, and this young team just keep improving right before our eyes. At full time, at the end of overtime, it's Canberra 97, Adelaide 90.
Well, what an impressive display by two teams that, you know, just they're playing for pride right now. They're still that's not up there that probably is fairly telling is the turnovers for Adelaide, 22 compared to the turnovers for the Capitals, 13. They did take care of the ball very well. Both teams had some patches there where it was a little bit dicey, but overall Capitals, really great game. 97 points. Well done.
So a big scoring clip, both those teams. And guess what? If you like what you saw, they actually play together to finish off their to finish off their series Saturday 18th of Feb. But right now we're looking at the best highlights from overtime, and it was dominated by Canberra, 12 points to 5. And Jade Melbourne really put on the Jets in that overtime period. But there were some good moments. I mean, Beth Pizzi had 16 points. Perel obviously finished the game with 18. Britt Smart, 18 points off the bench though. That really stuck up on me. But they all had really good contributors.
Well, they certainly did. But this lady on the screen right now, I loved her decision-making down the stretch in that overtime. What she brought to the team was exceptional.
So the games to come, and don't we have a great crop of games to come? We've got a blockbuster weekend. It's headlined by that history-making game tomorrow night between the Southside Flyers and Sydney Flames at John Cain Arena. So make sure to snap up your tickets as soon as possible for that one. Plus, Perth takes on Townsville again. The Boomers take on the Spirit. Two clutches that will shape the top four. What a finish we're in for. And what a game it was tonight. We thank you for joining us on 9 Now. We hope you enjoyed the coverage. We certainly did. From the commentary box, myself, Laurie Chiswick, and our hard-working production team are signing off from the National Convention Centre, where it was the Capitals winning by 7 points over the Lightning. We hope to see you at John Cain Arena tomorrow night for that historic clash. If not, tune in on 9 Now. Bye for now.